and entitled Psycho Jerk at Disney, throws the biggest temper tantrum I've ever seen in my life, as he literally threatens to get everybody fired if he doesn't get his pizza that he ordered right away. Eventually though, this guy ended up getting arrested all while on vacation, resulting in him and his family getting banned from the park. Here's what happened. Okay, so in my 20s, I worked for a very popular theme park in Florida. I worked quick service food at a resort for 1 year, and one day I was placed in my favorite position, the pizza back. Basically, I was responsible for making pizza, baking pretty much everything, and making some breadsticks. The resort guests could call in special pizza orders, and guests could order pizza at the counter as well. Now, don't ask me why, but I rocked at this position. I was very quick and consistent, so I was often placed back there to my delight, as there was air conditioning and a walk-in fridge. Anyone who's done kitchen work knows how most professional kitchens feel as though they're bordering on Hades territory. I'm in the back keeping a steady pace when a tall man with light brown hair and a beer gut starts arguing with my coworker, who we will call Charlie, up front at the pizza front. The man claims he had been waiting for his pizza for over 40 minutes. When a guest orders a pizza, they are given a copy of the order and a wireless pager that will go off when the pizza's ready. Since the pizza is the most expensive item on the menu, and there had been people attempting to claim multiple, it became policy to have the guest pay for the pizza first. Once the pager went off, bring it back with a receipt so we can mark it, and then receive their pizza. The receipt also has a time on it. Well, Charlie asked to see the man's receipt to check the time, and when she does this guy gets angry and starts yelling at her. He screams that he wants his stupid pizza right now. Well, Charlie became flustered and comes back there asking where his pizza was. But I told her that no one waits 40 minutes when I'm back there, and that his pizza would be ready when it's ready. She refused to go back up there because he was so rude. So I went instead. I then asked him politely for his receipt, as it did have a timestamp on it, and my god, the response I received is honestly something that has blown my mind even to this day. I say to him, "Sir, I apologize for the wait. May I see your receipt, please?" This guy responds with vitriol in his voice. He says, "No, why do I need to show my receipt?" I say to him, "Sir, it's our policy to ask every guest for a receipt before they receive their pizza." But this guy is not having it, because this jerk starts screaming, "That is BS. First that woman asked and now you? Are you accusing me of stealing a freaking pizza?" I say to him, "No sir, it's just our policy." He then says, "F your policy. Give me my stupid pizza." Charlie then calls our small, adorable manager, who we will call Rose, and Rose comes up to the front and politely asks the man what's wrong. This guy then says, "I've waited almost an hour for my pizza, and those two idiots have enough nerve to ask me for a receipt?" Now at this point, it's important to know that this man has been cursing up a storm. So Rose responds by saying, "Sir, please don't use harsh language towards our workers, and asking for a receipt is policy." This jerk then looks at her smugly and says, "I can use whatever language I want." By this time, it's clear the man is possessed or drunk, so I call another manager. This manager, we'll call him Antonio, comes out and joins Rose to figure out the situation. But this man continues to cuss us out. He says to us, "You guys are idiots. I'm planning on getting all of you fired." He also plans to get Rose and Antonio fired as well. Apparently, we are accusing him of stealing just by asking for a receipt. He cussed more vulgarly and loudly. People around us are covering their children's ears or they're leaving. The staff at the front desk looked dazed, and eventually two guys that were managers of the gift shop ended up calling security. Well, security shows up and they finally take over. The security officer then says, "Sir, are you a guest at this resort?" And this guy freaks out saying, "Yeah, what about it?" Security then said, "Well, we need to verify your identity. Can you show us your ID or room card, please?" And my god, as soon as that security guard says this, all of this starts all over again. The man refuses and cusses the security out. He calls them fake cops and says they can't do anything to him, and that he's going to get them fired as well. At this point, these fake cops, according to this jerk, threaten to call Orange County police if he doesn't comply. But this guy tried to call some kind of bluff as if they wouldn't call, because he says, "Okay, call the Orange County." Well, the security guards did exactly that. They call the Orange County police. Fast forward, and this guy is arrested in the middle of the food court. Once the cops show up, he miraculously calms down and shows his room ID. His wife and 8-year-old son were at the pool, and a worker had to go get her. She was a blonde woman and very pretty. She walked in, looked at him, and walked right back outside. She had an expression that said, "I am done." His face dropped as they walked him out in handcuffs, and due to policy, the whole family had to leave that day with no refund and was banned for life. But worst of all, they had come there specifically for their son's 8th birthday. Wow, this is unbelievable to me. Imagine getting so upset over a pizza that you decide to basically throw the biggest hissy fit on planet Earth. The original poster even went on to clarify that it turns out that this guy had his receipt crumpled up in his pocket and he had only been waiting 10 minutes. This guy tried to make it sound like, "I've been waiting 40 minutes. Where's where's my pizza? Like, dude, calm down. It is not worth getting arrested over. And you screaming and freaking out is not going to get anything done. That is not going to make anybody like speed up this process or anything like that. So honestly, in my opinion, this guy deserved to get arrested. From the disorderly conduct all the way to him basically saying he's going to get everybody fired. This guy was completely out of line. If you like Am I the Jerk, you're probably going to love Am I the Genius. Check it out, link down below in the description. Also, go to amithejerk.com/submit if you would like to submit your own stories. My boyfriend is furious with me, claiming that one of my former gym instructors at a gym I used to go at is still pursuing me in some kind of way that is not platonic. And despite the fact that I've shown him time and time again that I am not cheating on him, nor would I ever do so, my boyfriend is convinced that something nefarious is happening. And at this point, I honestly don't know what to do. Here's what happened. So for a bit of context, my boyfriend and I have been dating for almost 3 years. At the end of last summer, we moved in together to an apartment in a different neighborhood of the same city. Because of the move, we both decided to sign up at a new gym that was close to our place. Now, I signed up mainly to attend fitness classes and started going to a few each week with different instructors. And this was all on my own without my boyfriend. And one of those was a cycle class. I was going to this class for a few months until one day my boyfriend started asking me about the male instructor. He wanted to know what he looked like, how he acted, etc., with a sense of jealousy and insecurity, mainly because he had seen the guy teaching a class and was concerned that he had a physique that I was attracted to. Now, I assured him that he was just a normal instructor. I wasn't attracted to him, and he didn't have to worry about anything to do with me being too flirty or the guy acting inappropriately, as he didn't show me any special attention. I invited him to attend the class to see for himself, but he declined. Around this same time, a mutual female friend of ours, who's more close to my boyfriend but I know her through him, decided to join our gym and get back into fitness. I recommended classes to her and invited her to go with me, so we started to go to cycling class together. She liked the instructor's classes and started going to others of his that I didn't attend. Now, due to changes in my work schedule, I stopped going regularly to the cycle class that he taught in the fall and would only pop in once a month. One day, our mutual friend came up to me and my boyfriend and said that she had been asked by this male instructor why I didn't attend as regularly anymore, and said he had asked about me by name. Well, when my boyfriend and I were alone, he asked me about this, as to why this instructor knew my name, and he was legitimately upset, demanding to know every interaction that I had had with this instructor all these months. So I told him yes, he knew my name, as he had asked a few people in the class one day I attended, but I didn't have any personal conversations with him beyond this. Nothing more than the normal pleasantries of saying hello. This then escalated to a fight, and after this fight, I decided to stop going to the cycle class altogether to avoid any more issues. Almost 3 months have passed since I last attended a class with this instructor, and today, a different friend of my boyfriend's ran into him, and after talking a bit, told him that she's now going to the cycle classes with our mutual friend. Further talking, and she says the instructor was asking her and the mutual friend one class if I was going to go to the classes again, and if the reason I wasn't attending was because I had left the city that we live in to be with my family in another city, as I had been planning to travel there since the beginning of January. Well, my boyfriend came home super upset, wanting to know how the instructor knew all these details about my family and my travel plans. Now, I tried explaining to him that I couldn't have shared these details with the instructor, as I haven't been to the class or seen him in months, and that the city he said is actually the city I told this mutual friend that my family is from, not the actual small town they live in. She is the only one I've told this city name when referring to where my family is from, as she is new to the area and unfamiliar with the more rural areas and doesn't know their smaller town. I also told this mutual friend that I was traveling there at the beginning of January. I explained that it's unfair to be mad at me when clearly the mutual friend has been talking with the instructor about me and sharing this information, as she is the only one associated to the instructor who I've told this city name to and when I was traveling. I feel so upset that he sees this as my fault, and I feel that my boyfriend is coming from a place of jealousy that is unwarranted. He thinks I lied to him about how close I am to this instructor, and now says that he can't trust me instead of being mad at our friend. He also insinuated that this instructor is the reason for any other unrelated issue that we've talked about, that any other issue is because of this instructor to cause problems with him. I don't understand his jealousy, and it's really making me question the relationship. He has showed aspects of jealousy before to men that I work with, but never like this. He ended up calming down more and finally said that he wants to be good and that he just has to accept how much I let people in, and said that there's a point that I should have stopped the confidence this guy sees in me. I asked him how I was supposed to do that if stopping going to the classes wasn't enough. Was I supposed to refuse to give him my name when he asked for it? Because again, I didn't tell him the details he's upset over. I only told him my name, and I don't feel that he would have the same reaction if it was a female instructor. So seriously, any advice on how to feel about this situation and what to do is really appreciated, because right now I feel totally blindsided by his reaction. Wow, your boyfriend sounds incredibly insecure and very jealous for all the wrong reasons. First of all, he's complaining about this instructor as if he's trying to steal his girlfriend. But even after you leave that cycling class, your boyfriend still comes at you and says, "Oh wow, how does he know all this information?" Even though you explained that it's the other friend who's talking about you. Like seriously, what's going on right now? You are being faithful and this guy's trying to paint you into something that you're not. This whole situation sounds exhausting, and in my opinion, your boyfriend needs a wake-up call, because you clearly are not doing anything wrong. And if he can't see that, then honestly, that's his problem and not yours. My boyfriend told me that I'm going to be a terrible mother after a small disagreement, and right now I feel completely devastated and I don't know what to do. Here's what happened. I'm a 25-year-old female and I've been with my boyfriend for 9 years, and we've always had a pretty easy relationship. But this morning, something happened that has really shaken me, and now I'm wondering if I'm overreacting or if I should confront him. It all started because he has this habit of rushing around in the mornings, asking me to help out with the little things, like making his coffee or packing his lunch, all while he gets ready. Now, I don't mind doing it now and then, but I also work full-time and I need to get ready myself. This morning, we both needed to shower at the same time, so I let him go first. When I needed to brush my teeth, he was still in the bathroom, so I decided to finish making his breakfast and brew him some tea while I waited. When he came out and sat down to eat, he asked me to pack his lunch. At this point, I was already feeling a bit frustrated, so I snapped at him and I said, "Why can't you do it? I still need to get ready." And that's when he got upset and told me, "Stop complaining. I don't need to hear this right now." I tried to explain that I was getting overwhelmed because I had asked him to make a grocery list the day before, and he had not done that. I work longer hours than he does, and I wanted him to help with things like that since he has more free time after work. Well, he completely flipped out, saying I was ruining his morning on purpose and making him late for work. And then, just when I thought things couldn't get worse, he told me, "You're going to be a terrible mother." He actually said I should just suck it up and do things without complaining, especially in the mornings, because apparently it was affecting his day. And that comment hit me like a ton of bricks. I didn't expect him to say something like that, and now I can't stop thinking about it. I never meant to ruin his morning. I just wanted to express how I was feeling, but now I'm questioning everything. I feel hurt, and I don't know if I should confront him about it or just let it go. I feel like I'm stuck in this weird place where I'm blaming myself for being upset, but at the same time, I can't ignore how much that comment stung. Should I talk to him about it, or am I just being way too sensitive? What should I do? Oh my gosh, this is such a toxic thing to say. You mean to tell me that your boyfriend, who clearly is working you like a dog and making you do all this stuff for him, suddenly says you're not going to be a good mother, all because he's not willing to pick up any slack that he's literally leaving you? Like seriously, you have work as well. Like this guy is so selfish, it honestly is so glaringly obvious. And the fact that he would even say that you're not going to be a good mother, honestly, I think you're probably going to be a great mother, especially if you're dealing with a boyfriend like this guy. This guy sounds like the biggest toddler on planet Earth. And by the way, he's 29 years old, and he's sitting there trying to be like, "Why can't you just do all this and not complain?" It's like, dude, what are you talking about? You're the one asking your girlfriend to pack your lunch for you. You're really not mature enough to set that up the day before like anybody else? Like seriously, what a giant brat. So yeah, your boyfriend sucks, and no, I don't think you're going to be a terrible mother, because the things he said to you, in my opinion, are wildly inappropriate, and you do not deserve that in the slightest. This next story came from the Am I the Jerk subreddit. Check the links in the description if you would like to submit your own story. Am I the jerk for reporting my friend to our boss after he started bad-mouthing me, as well as ignore my direct orders as a security officer? Because right now he is very upset with me, and at this point I seriously don't know what to do. Here's what happened. I'm a 20-year-old male and I work for a security company, and we have a sector of the company where we give back to the community voluntarily. And it is fair enough because our company pays a very handsome wage. So the training we do can be quite costly, but our company gives it to us for free on the condition that we volunteer at least once a month for 2 years and do a minimum of 21 days sleepaway. And this is for people younger than 26. And then after 2 years, you've paid back your debt. So in our country, you need to get a type of police clearance to operate as a security official, which also costs quite a bit of money. Our company therefore waits for you to finish the training course before helping you apply for the position, as they don't want to lose their money on someone who drops out in the middle of the course and lose out on more money that they would have already lost. The same applies for getting a weapon clearance as well, if you know what I mean. The issue comes in with the bureaucracy. There are extensive background checks done with everything, which can take anywhere from 2 to 6 months, and you run the risk of being rejected due to unclear fingerprints or being being short on a signature on one of the forms. Our company really relies on everyone who has the training to help protect. So prior to the police clearance, people are put to work via gray areas and loopholes. Now, one thing about me is that I don't like things not being done. Therefore, I was at the police station the day after I successfully finished the course and submitted the paperwork. And the same applies for when I got the signed paperwork from the weapon shop. Now, I have this friend who joined just before me, and for the sake of the story, we'll call him Noel, and he is the complete opposite of me. He hasn't submitted paperwork for anything, and he did the course before me. His attitude towards the company is negative, as the managers can be quite difficult to deal with. So anyways, there is this difficult client who requested security to escort them around for 18 days in another city, which is basically sleepaway volunteering. I got chosen to lead the team, with Noel as my second in command, and a few other guys from the city we were in. Well, something changed in Noel the moment the plane landed. Noel went to my third in command secretly and informed him that the only reason I've been left in charge is due to me being a registered security officer and that I have a weapon. And he said this all just to try and change this person's perspective of me. The client requested we refrain from talking to their employees between certain times, but Noel refused. He fraternized heavily with an employee during those times, and they actually currently are dating. Well, fast forward and we did laundry, and Noel's shirt went missing, and he deemed it necessary to punch a hole in the wall twice. He would also gossip about me behind my back and refuse to follow my orders. Now, for context, it is policy that we get issued uniforms, but can only wear it once the police clearance comes through. And my final straw was when I noticed Noel in uniform. I told him to take it off immediately, and he refused by stating, "We're in a different city, so no one will care," disregarding the fact that it's a national law, and we have a branch there, so his logic makes no sense. I tried my best to talk to him, but he really didn't want to hear what I had to say. Well, after that, I took notes, and as I got back home, I went to our boss and I shared everything, including some things I haven't noted here, and I put it in a long story sheet, and he could be facing unpaid suspension or getting fired completely. Well, fast forward and Noel got called in. He got questioned on everything. He obviously denied and deflected everything, and then decided to whine about it to one of my friends who we will call Abe. Abe called me up saying that I should apologize, which I truthfully did not want to do, and told me that Noel is very hurt and just wants to understand why I reported him. I then decided to be the bigger person and call Noel and rip the band-aid right off. Noel tried to explain all of his actions, and I told him he can't get himself out of the hole that he dug himself into. I then also turned it on him about how I knew he was gossiping about me. He didn't tell me that one of my best friends, who we will call Carl, was in the room when I called, and they live in the same area. Carl called me the next day just so he could get my side of the story. He then told me that Noel altered his story to paint me in a bad light. My company trusts me over Noel, and they have no reason to ever doubt me and my skills. I could easily go back to them with the update and give info that I decided to redact because Noel is still my friend. All I need to do is mention that Noel is defaming my name in the company to HR, and then request that he does a substance test because I know he's doing stuff that easily could get caught. So truly, am I the jerk in this entire situation? Because right now I don't know what to do. Okay, first of all, this story is crazy. This guy works as a security officer, and he's going around acting like this? Like seriously, this is not okay. This screams like super sketchy, and I would never want someone like that hired to protect me. Like, this guy is dating clients, and he's literally not taking his job seriously at all, while also disrespecting authority. Like, if I was in the original poster shoes, I would not want someone like that as my second in command. Now, granted, I don't know anything about this type of like security work or anything like that, so I literally don't know what I'm talking about, but I can only assume that this is not the kind of person you want having your back. He's literally trying to turn people against you, and he's not taking his job seriously. So if things went down in a really bad way, would he really come to your aid and try and save you from something happening? Like, I just don't think that's gonna happen. Noel doesn't sound like a good person who's gonna protect the client or his friends. So if I was in your shoes, I would not only report him, but I would also kick him to the curb. There's no way you could ever consider this guy your friend, especially when he's actively trying to like play into your downfall. So truly, I would not allow this guy to be protected by your silence. And in my opinion, I think it's time to step up and report him for the jerk that he truly is. Would I be the jerk if I told my wedding planner friend what her assistant did at my wedding? As I just recently found out that her assistant literally looked up some of the women from my wedding, all so that he could try and find a date. And at this point, I'm honestly blown away and I don't know what to do. Here's what happened. I'm a 27-year-old female and I married my best friend about a month ago. One of my good friends is a wedding planner and I used her company for the coordinating. She was a guest at the wedding, but had 3 other people from her company work with my husband and I, and they were amazing. The whole weekend went perfectly and not a single complaint about the job the company did. One of the assistants was this guy who looked to be about my age and I didn't give it much thought. lot. This past weekend, I hung out with my friend who we will call Claire, and this is the first time that we are seeing each other since my wedding. And it was then that Claire told me a funny story about my wedding. She said a few days after my wedding, she received an Instagram follow and message from someone she didn't know. Now, the basic rundown of the message was that it was from the assistant coordinator at my wedding. He pretty much said that he was working and couldn't say anything, but he noticed her at the wedding and thought that she was really beautiful and he wanted to ask her on a date. She then asked how he found her, and he proudly said that he noticed her, looked up the seating chart of the table that she was seated at for dinner, and looked up every girl at the table until he found her. She said she wasn't comfortable with that and blocked him. She told me it was funny in hindsight, but at the time she was a little uncomfortable. But at the end of it, Claire did emphasize to me that she didn't think it was a big deal. Now, with all that being said, would I be the jerk if I told my wedding planner friend about what happened? She will most likely report him to the head of the company, and there is a chance that he might be fired. And I really don't know if I'm being vindictive or not. It just doesn't sit right that we paid a guy to do a job, and he ended up stalking and direct messaging my friend. So seriously, would I be in the wrong for doing this? Because right now I don't know what to do. Okay, no, you would not be the jerk here. If I'm being honest, I think you have an obligation to report this guy. He seriously used the private information he was provided to try and look up some girl he thought was pretty on Instagram. Seriously, that is creepy and that is so wrong. Even if your friend is okay with the interaction and she's like, it's fine, it's not a big deal. It's like, sure, I can respect her opinion, but no, this is a big deal. He literally stalked this woman's profile on Instagram and tried to be like, wow, I really thought you were beautiful at the wedding. By the way, I have your information. You want to go out? It's like, what's going on? That's so weird. And if this guy's willing to do this at your wedding, God knows how many times he's probably done this in the past or done something similar where he's like taken people's information and looked them up. In my opinion, this is not something that needs to be swept under the rug. If anything, it seems like Claire just doesn't want to like rock the boat, but if I was in your shoes, I would be rocking the boat until this jerk's out of it, because what that guy did was incredibly creepy, and his company, regardless of how anybody might feel about it, absolutely deserves to know what happened. When you subscribe, make sure to hit the bell to turn on notifications. To finish listening to all the stories, check out the playlist at the top of the description. And if you want some chill music to put on in the background, check out easymode.com. If you like Am I the Jerk, subscribe to Am I the Genius. Everything will be linked down below in the description.